Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to Let's Talk CFL podcast, episode number 597. We're getting closer to that elusive 600 number that we've been trying to get to. Anyhow, here we are live again on Microsoft Teams. Panel, we have William McDonald over there in the Calgary Stampeders uniform, Mr. Hollywood, Charles Cliff, and myself, your host, Christopher Jones. And we're going to be talking football for the next, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours, however long we go before we fall asleep, go to bed. We're old men. Well, Charles is just a youngie, but that's okay. Anyhow, it's off season and there's not a lot going on right now. We are in a bit of a lull in news for CFL, so we'll see what happens. What are we going to do? William, how are you doing, buddy?
I am grandiose, never been better. It's nice in Calgary, finally. It's 14 today. It was wonderful. There's no snow. What more do I want?
Exactly. I mean, it was like 12 degrees here in Merritt, and the sun was shining. It was bright and crisp, and the snow's all gone, and now we're just dealing with a lot of mud. It's considered breakup, so all the logging trucks are sitting, parked, and nothing much is happening in town because everybody's kind of going, I'm pissed off for the next 4 to 6 weeks because the roads are too muddy, and the Ministry of Highway puts restrictions on the highway so that you can't have more than 70% of your GVW. So it kind of sucks. Anyhow, Charles, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I can't complain. It's nice down here too. The only problem is we had snow a few weeks ago, and there's still a lot of salt and crap that's on the road. It gets all over and makes my car dirty. I got washed my car already once, and it's already dirty again. But I mean, that's gonna happen. So
that Esso gas station right down at the bottom of the hill from you has got a nice little car wash in it.
I've used it several times.
Yeah. Okay. I used to use it all the time when I lived out there, but that's been 8 years ago, so I'm not doing it anymore.
Has it been that long? Holy cow. Really?
Well, it was November 1st, 2017 we moved.
And they haven't run you out of Merritt yet.
No. They like me here.
Oh, okay.
It's true.
You're lying, but that's okay.
No, I'm not lying. It's true. I'm a sought after individual. I'm the Grinch.
That's a population of 7 out there, right? So that's
no. The population is a little bit over 7,000 people.
No way! Wow.
True.
I didn't think it was that high.
Yeah, no, it's about 7,600 people or something like that. Half of them are crackheads, so it's just one of those things, right? So
okay.
We'll see what can happen and get going from there. Okay,
no,
so
don't
now
like you and Merritt anymore.
What's that?
Nothing. I'm just kidding. I'm saying now you don't like you and Merritt anymore. You just said half the town is crackheads.
Yeah. Well,
they probably don't have computers, so we're all good.
No. One of the jokes over here is why don't little kids ride their bicycles down the road anymore? Like we never see little kids riding their bikes, and that's because the crackheads have all stolen them. So, anyhow, but aside the point.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, now that we've trashed,
it's actually a really bad problem in a town this size. It's huge. So I mean, it's like the downtown east side, but you're in Merritt.
What, crackheads or stealing bicycles?
A little of both.
Okay.
We got to do something about Will's volume. I don't understand this one, Charles.
Yeah,
he went real quiet, didn't he?
I tried something tonight, but it didn't work. So.
Yeah, it's like the same thing as we had last week, where it would be loud and then it just gets quiet and it just keeps going back.
For no reason, and he's not really moving that much.
No, because that's the thing. It doesn't make any sense.
Try and fix it for next week. I had my headphones, but for some reason they won't connect. And my mic is on my headphones, but maybe I'll try it again before the show's over.
Yeah, I'm just going to strap it to your throat or something. I don't know. Okay, so let's go over here to the agenda. Charles made an agenda, and which was very trying for him. I'll give him credit here because he did come up with some things that, it's just there's just not a lot of shit happening right now. what are we doing here? Grading every team's free agency so far. Okay, so if you guys got this post brought up here, actually, this is the first one that I've seen about this. It was a 3 Down Nation one that had the Saskatchewan Roughriders as #1 in free agency, which I thought was stupid. I don't see what Saskatchewan did that was so wonderful. So we'll see
this
what
doesn't really
goes.
rank them. It just gives them letter grades.
This guy, yeah, they gave him letter grades, and this was Marshall Ferguson of CFL.ca that did this. Much of the offseason. Okay, so they're going to start from west to east. BC Lions. BC Lions get a B plus. Okay, quarterback Nathan Rourke is locked in. Returner Justin McInnes was big, and James Butler coming back from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. This should be awesome. Again, Micah Awe for this third stint into. Oh, we lost Charles.
Where'd he go?
I don't know. What do you do with him, Will?
Didn't touch him. Charles, where'd you go?
We'll just keep going and see what happens. Micah Awe's back for his third time with the Lions, and who we got? Adam Konar is back, and Matthew Betts is on the upfront lineup. Okay, so waiting in the lobby. Let's admit, Charles. See what happened. Can't blame that on Will's big fingers.
No. Charles, where'd you go?
Sorry.
Are you back? What happened?
Yes. I went to bring up this article on the 3 Down Nation, and I accidentally brought it up in the window where the chat was.
Okay. And that
and it cut
went
me
away.
off. Yep.
Okay, so we did the BC Lions. There's really nothing in there. Adam Konar, Matthew Betts, Micah Awe, James Butler, Jason McInnes, and Nathan Rourke, of course. So that's kind of, I personally think the Lions did a bunch of other things. They did a couple of trades for some offensive linemen. And so, yeah, okay. Matthew just kind of forgot about that part.
It's good, but it's not like overwhelming good. It's not like something you say, wow, that team really improved itself. I don't think they got worse, but they did. I don't think free agency made them substantially better either.
But I don't think the BC Lions were that bad of a team. I thought they were very poorly coached, and that has changed straight across the board. So I'm hoping that the Lions have made that step up that they needed to, because they were really on the verge of greatness under Vernon Adams, and then he kind of got hurt. So, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that things just kind of work out for that. William, you got anything to say about the letter grade for the BC Lions being a B plus?
Sure. B plus is fine. I don't think they did anything great. I don't think they did anything bad. We'll see how their offensive line is.
Exactly. And I think the biggest upgrade in here was, and I'm challenged by saying it's an upgrade. Rick Campbell as the head coach is gone. We now have Buck Pierce. Buck Pierce is also doing the offensive coordinator side of things. So Jordan Maximic is gone to the Edmonton Elks, sorry. And so that's kind of what happened. And then we demoted Ryan Phillips and brought up Mike Benavides as the defensive coordinator. Now, who went into special teams? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. Not that it's relevant.
And maybe, you know what? And maybe in this situation, they were, 9-9 last year. Maybe it's a good thing that they didn't add that much, right? Because everybody says, and we'll get there, Edmonton won free agency, but they've got a whole bunch of new bodies. You got to turn that. You got to become a team, and that takes time. Pretty simple.
Yeah, the Lions were 9-9, but they also went 7-1 to start the season before their epic collapse. Yeah. So they had a good team, and then I think Rick Campbell lost the locker room.
I think it was a combination of that, and they had a lot of key injuries that hit them in the second half of the season, and they were never really a full team for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Okay, so moving east, We have the Alberta Capital, the Edmonton Elks. They received an A plus, which is the highest grade of any team in the league due to positive momentum of Mark Killam's hiring. So he took into consideration Mark Killam, but he did not take into consideration the hiring of Buck Pierce. Interesting. Very, very
Yeah, it's kind of.
I can't use the word racist because that's ridiculous. But
it's not racist,
yeah.
but it's very subjective where you factor it in for one team and you don't for another.
Exactly. So Edmonton brought back Jake Seresna. Yeah, Curly Gittins Jr., Robbie Smith, Jared Brinkman, David Beard on the offensive line, Keelan Jennings Grant. Terrell Ford was a big pickup, which is the brother to Trey Ford, the quarterback in Edmonton. So that's kind of a neat thing. He gets to play with his twin brother. Defensive back Royce Mitchie and Cody Grace. So, yeah, I mean, Edmonton did make a lot of movement, and they did pick up some key players. They still, in my opinion, well, they also picked up McLeod Bethel Thompson in a trade, but in my opinion, they still don't. No, sorry, they got rid of McLeod Bethel Thompson. They picked up Cody Fajardo.
That's who they got.
Edmonton Elks do not, in my opinion, have a starting quarterback, and I have heard that that's important in this league.
You could say that.
So, Trey Ford, we'll see. Yes, the jury's still out. Everybody thinks that he's the next coming. He's awesome. He's a Canadian. He's the hottest hand in the Elks. And what did he do last year? He beat Ottawa and Hamilton.
Let's just put some
context.
Oh my God, what's the word I'm looking for?
Context.
Let's put some controversial stuff into this podcast. I think Trey Ford will be the best Canadian quarterback in the CFL this season.
Oh, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. I'll believe that when I see it.
It worked.
No, not at all. That's not controversy at all. That's just dumbass Will coming out right now.
You never know.
Speaking of dumbasses, where's your brother? I thought he was going to be on this podcast this week.
I talked to him for 2 hours yesterday. I was on the highway for 2 hours and I never brought it up. I don't know why. Yeah, I'll have to. I will again. I promise.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's always nice to have another opinion, and the fact that he's in the Western time zone because he lives in Abbotsford, very close to Charles, but he is a diehard Winnipeg Blue Bomber fan, and it would be nice to have a Bomber fan back on the thing since Mark Weddle vacated the premises.
He's actually very upset these days because he was a lifelong Raider fan, and they hired the coach that he has hated for his whole life.
Pete Carroll.
Because he was in Seattle for all those years, and he hates the Seattle Seahawks. So, what are you going to do? Anyways, I will talk to him, for sure.
That's NFL football. Who cares?
Well, some of us do.
Yeah, just a little bit. Actually, I'm going to talk about some NFL stuff later on because they've actually done something interesting, and I'd like to follow up on that. But we're going to finish this article first, and we'll carry on. So that's the Edmonton Elks, and ended up with an A plus. Calgary Stampeders, an A minus. An A minus for the Calgary Stampeders. What have they done that's been so spectacular?
Now, is this just free agency based?
Yeah, I believe so.
The article says grading every team's free agency so far. Okay. Now, this article was February 12th, so it is 2 weeks old. But there really wasn't too much more happened in free agency after this. Calgary Stampeders got an A minus, which is just below the Elks and just above the B plus BC Lions. Okay, much of this grade is about signings but most of it is applauding the Stampeders for having the self-awareness to evolve.
In other
They
words,
didn't even-
signing people in free agency when they never did.
What does that mean? Okay.
Well, I think that means that they evolved away from Mark Killam and that other guy, and they evolved away from Jake Mayer, and they evolved away from a few other players. There was some serious turnover with the Calgary Stampeders. I personally don't think that it was the person who was important that needed to be turned over.
Here we go again.
Dave Dickinson's a bum.
The most important thing, I don't understand why they say they evolved. They were the last place team in the CFL last year. They should have cut everybody and started over again.
You would think, but they didn't.
Well, they did a lot.
So here we go. A team who typically doesn't dabble much in free agency went head over heels into the dance this year and found themselves the receiver, Dominic Rhymes, defensive back, Damon Webb from Ottawa. Both could be CFL All-Stars. They added linebacker Derek Moncrief, among others, to get a revamped roster to run. It doesn't say a fucking thing about adding Vernon Adams. Yes, I know that was a free agent. That was right. Okay, but he's still there. Okay, right. And there was a couple other things in here that weren't about free agents. Anyhow, nothing about that. I think that you need to take a look at the entire team and how it's evolved since last season, not just free agency. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now, not so much what they're doing.
And I'm thinking the biggest move in CFL this offseason was what?
Well, the signing of Vernon Adams for Calgary.
That's correct.
Question.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without question. In my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, there was no other.
They actually have a quarterback. And if you will, and if he played like he did last year, he could be the top quarterback in the CFL.
It took a team that was in last place in the CFL and spiraling downward still.
Yep.
To being a contender.
Yep.
I'm not going to say that they're going to light it up, make the playoffs, win the Grey Cup, anything. All I'm saying is that they should not be. I'm not going to say that they're fighting for last place right now. I would have.
I don't think so.
I did last year,
right.
And I was correct.
I'd have to go back and
so
look.
Were you?
I don't believe you. But
what? Of course I did. I said that Calgary would be fighting Saskatchewan for last place in the West. Edmonton would be in third. BC would be in second. Winnipeg would be in first. I never said that prediction was correct, but that was my prediction.
The Calgary prediction was right, at least.
But Calgary was right.
Yep.
Winnipeg was first.
Yep, and Winnipeg as well. The middle three were a little different, but
BC wasn't in second; they were in third, and only by half a game. Right? Saskatchewan was 9-8-1. BC was 9-9, so they were only half game ahead.
That tie got Saskatchewan second place.
That tie got them a home field playoff game.
Yep.
And you know, and the guy, somebody I was talking to online the other day was tooting their horn about how the Riders were battling for first place. And I said, no,
really.
They were half a game out of third place. And he goes, no, they were one of the better teams in the league. And I says, I would not be proud of a 9-8-1 record.
They were barely 500.
Yes, they were half a game above 500.
Who?
Saskatchewan.
Who? Saskatchewan.
Right. You know, if Vernon Adams had have continued on his rampage throughout the CFL, because last year they only have him listed as playing 9 games. Okay?
Correct.
If he had played all 18, like if he had kept on going the way he was going and didn't get hurt, he probably would have played all 18. He would have had close to 6,000 yards passing.
Yep.
Could have.
Vernon
have.
Adams gets
Well,
hurt.
I know it's
Saskatchewan
could
doesn't
have,
get
should
second
have.
place.
Yep. So, I
Charles, what
mean,
was that?
I said if Vernon Adams doesn't get hurt, Saskatchewan doesn't get second place.
Of course not. Winnipeg probably wouldn't get first.
I think BC might have still finished first. That injury to Vernon Adams completely derailed their season.
Yeah.
And yeah,
William,
they
where
brought
were you
in
going?
Nathan Rourke, but a Nathan Rourke that hadn't played a meaningful game of football in a year and a half. You just don't step onto a football field and pick up where you left. It doesn't work like that.
If Vernon
But
Adams did not get injured, Nathan Rourke would not have seen the field.
He might
But
not
I
even
still-
have signed
I-
in BC. Who knows?
I don't. Well, we can't really. We can speculate, but we can't really say. So,
No, that's true.
Okay.
because you didn't know what Rick Campbell would have done.
No,
No,
Okay,
that's fair.
very true.
he might have put Cody Fajardo in there. Who the fuck knows? So, anyways,
William, you're challenging me, okay? Cody
Why?
Fajardo. Cody Fajardo. No. Okay.
I like
so
Cody.
so far, the lowest mark in the West goes to Saskatchewan Roughriders with a B minus. Okay. No fault here. Saskatchewan running it back for most of the. They really. He didn't say anything in here. There's nothing. Excuse me. There's nothing in here that the Saskatchewan Roughriders had signed. Nobody. I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying he didn't put anybody in here. He just gave them a B minus and said that they didn't get Eugene Lewis or Kenny Lawler.
Right.
I don't understand how he gave them any type of mark. Anyhow, and then in the West, the team with the lowest grade is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Now, I'm going to have to. Okay, Bombers had no choice but to turn the page, and they did so with names like Lawler and Adam Bighill are gone for various reasons. Incoming roles: Reggie White Jr., Peyton Logan, James Valder, and and the timeless efforts of Willie Jefferson are still there. They signed Stanley Bryant. They still have Yoshi, don't they? Hardrick?
Yeah, I believe so.
And
No. Hardrick
No?
is in Saskatchewan.
That's right. Hardrick's gone. He signed in
okay,
Saskatchewan.
Hardrick's in
Last year.
Saskatchewan. And I think they did anybody sign Suk Chung?
Not that I've seen.
I haven't heard that. No.
Okay, because a lot of people were saying that he should go back to Winnipeg, and that may or may not happen. But I mean, their O-line, I mean, Stanley Bryant is what, fucking 39?
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, you can't do too much like that. Okay. So, my question here is so far, the Western Division all had passing grades. Not only passing grades, they were exceptional grades. Okay. A C plus is a good mark. B minus, B plus, A minus, A plus. Those are fabulous marks. I mean, you're doing well in school. You got an A plus.
I was always happy getting a C plus in school.
Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't look like anybody failed. It's going to be interesting season if that's the case. Hamilton Tiger Cats came up with a solid B. Okay. Are they the Blue Cats or the Tiger Bombers? I like Tiger Bombers. Isn't that kind of a neat name? Basically, the general manager had the influence of the players: Kenny Lawler, Garbuck, Brian Cole, Miles Fox. A whole pile of them came over from Winnipeg, and you know they re-signed Levi Mitchell, who had an MOP season in Hamilton, even though they missed the playoffs. If he can do that again with Kenny Lawler and a couple other receivers that they picked up, Hamilton may actually compete well for this season. Even though they missed the playoffs last year, they probably will compete for that. I'm still in the mindset with Ottawa that not much could have made them better. No matter who they signed, could have signed Tom Brady, and they still wouldn't have made much difference. So we'll see what Marshall Ferguson says about the Ottawa Redblacks in a moment. But the Hamilton Tiger Cats get a solid B, and hopefully they turn things around for them. Now Scott Milanovich is still the head coach and offensive coordinator. They had to get a new defensive coordinator, and I think they stole a guy from Toronto, didn't they?
Yeah. What was his name?
I think they took.
I can't remember who it was.
I think they took him from Toronto because they did not re-sign or promote Chris Jones, who I thought they would, but they did not. And he's gone south to Bill Belichick.
Right.
Interesting.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. So the next up on the thing is the Toronto Argonauts, who received a B-. Basically re-signing most of the people that they already had. But it didn't look like Anthony Lanier is the only one who came over from Saskatchewan, but they lost Deshaun Amos, Robert Priester, Tunde Akelade, Fraser Sopik, Gregor McKellar, and Michi. All left. How do you get a Grey Cup winning team and a complete exodus on your defensive side, including the coach?
Apparently, they told a lot of the players that they were going to have to take pay cuts in order to play there.
That's what I heard too.
We heard that, and I also heard that a lot of the players don't want to be on the same team with Mr. Kelly. Now,
I don't know if that's a thing. Who knows?
I don't know. I haven't heard that, but again, that wouldn't surprise me, though. Honestly, it wouldn't.
No, me either.
No. Okay, so then we go over to the Ottawa Redblacks, who have been dismal at best for the last 4 or 5 seasons. They did make the playoffs in the East only because the West sucked and there wasn't a crossover. Gangsta Will is over there right now. They they signed Eugene Willis, but they lost Dominic Rhymes. They brought in William Stanback, who was with the BC Lions last year, who BC let William go. Matt Schlitz and Dustin Crum are also at quarterback there. So who do they have at quarterback? They have
Drew Brown.
They have Drew Brown. They lost Jeremiah Mazzoli. I believe he got signed by the BC Lions.
Correct.
Good sign. That's one of the better signings in free agency, in my opinion, for BC.
They still have Dustin Crum.
They got Dustin Crum and Matt Schlitz. And I don't think they did enough to make themselves better. William Stanback, I like the fact that they got themselves a good running back. It is important in this game. And Eugene Lewis is coming in, but you need a quarterback that is going to get him the ball. And Dustin Crum and Drew Brown have not really excelled in the starter position.
I thought they had one more guy there too.
They do.
Gosh, crap! What's his name?
A quarterback?
Yeah.
Yeah, they brought in another.
Yeah. They got Drew Brown. Jesus, who did they bring in?
No, I don't think they brought anybody in.
No,
yes, isn't that where
McLeod Bethel Thompson went?
No, he went to Montreal.
No, that's right. Sorry, you're right. Where did he go?
QB, Montreal. We have Tyler Adams, Drew Brown, Dustin Crum. Matt Schlitz. And that's it. That's all
Really?
that's on their roster.
Okay.
So yeah, they didn't bring any. I honestly thought they had somebody else.
I thought so too, for some reason. And maybe we're wrong. It is at least possible.
Because Nick Arbuckle re-signed in Toronto, right?
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Okay. So that's the Ottawa Red Blacks, and they got an A for that effort. I don't know what he graded this on. I really don't. Okay, so quarterback Davis Alexander is the starter by name, but the addition of McLeod Bethel Thompson looms large. Okay, so now they made a trade for McLeod Bethel Thompson, and they got rid of Cody Fajardo. But he did not mention Vernon Adams in Calgary. He did not mention Jeremiah Mazzoli in BC. He did not mention Cody Fajardo in Edmonton. But McLeod Bethel Thompson coming to Montreal is important.
It's so weird how he's just subjective, and it's really weird.
Ignores.
Yeah.
Yep.
And because it wasn't a free agent pickup, it was a trade.
But don't forget, Marshall Ferguson is the guy who spends most of his time deciding who's going to be great in the Canadian draft. So, just saying.
Okay. Defensive lineman Sean Oakman and Joshua Archibald should help reinforce the defensive line. Cyril Hogan Sadon? I don't know. Who cares? Homecoming. The downside, they lost Julian Grant, Lions, Reggie Stubblefield, Philippe Gagnon, and Reggie White. So they got a B for signing 2 guys and losing 6.
He probably writes. Don't make any sense.
He probably writes for 3 Down Nation.
This definitely challenges me. How do these people get jobs doing that? I really boggles the mind sometimes.
Yes,
if we can all see that they're idiots, can't the people running the organization see that they're idiots?
You would think so.
Because seriously, somebody had to fucking lose at free agency. And I personally think it was Toronto. But Toronto gets a B+. Wasn't it a B+ they got?
Toronto got a B-.
B-. They should have got a D. But you can't do that because, oh my God, the Toronto Argonauts fans would have a fit. William, are you okay? You tipped over.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Just checking out. Okay, the Lions round out their staff by hiring running back coach. Oh my God. Who is this? Christian Matt? Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, that didn't work. I can't do anything. That link doesn't work. We missed a space in it, so I'm not going to go looking for it. Charles, you got anything you can say about this?
I mean, Christian Matt, he's not he was a kind of a third stringer. He wasn't even it's kind of weird to me because he was an offensive lineman in Montreal, and they brought him in as a running backs coach. Wouldn't typically you'd want a running back to be a running backs coach? I mean, sure, the offensive lineman blocked for them, but it just seems like a weird hire to me.
I don't really have a problem with that.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean,
I always thought that
seriously. So the running back coach also has a little bit to do with the O-line.
Oh, yep. Sure it does.
right? So, they would have to work hand in hand with the O-line coach, and really seriously, little twerps, the running backs aren't going to have anything on the same level with an O-lineman. So having an O-lineman as a running back coach kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You little shit, follow these guys, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
how much else do you need to do, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to diss the concept of running backs, but they're a dime a dozen. And yeah, am I happy that James Butler came in? Yes. I'm disappointed William Stanback left. I mean, he was the number two. He was the number one running back in the league, and we got rid of him. Where's the logic? I don't know. Okay. 15 players to watch at the CFL Invitational Combine. Now I'm going to move on from that, okay? And if we have to, we'll come back to it because, like, who gives a fuck?
I was trying to find content.
I understand that.
But we're not going to know. But even when I did, I'm like, we're not going to know who any of these guys are.
No, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce half of them.
Probably not. Nope. That's part of the entertainment, though.
Yes. What? Yeah. Okay.
And I thought Archie Bunker died. Anyways.
What?
That I thought Archie Bunker died.
I don't think Archie Bunker did. Carol O'Connor did.
Oh, okay.
And, I was talking to a guy today. He just said that he watched the Tina Turner documentary, and I said, and he goes, "Yeah, too bad she died." And I went, "She didn't die." And I go, "Yeah, yes, actually, she died."
Yes, she did.
I looked it up, and she died 2 years ago, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
But I did watch a video on Dolly Parton when she was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And did you see that video?
I did not.
You should YouTube it. Look for her as her introduction to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She's in this skin-tight black leather outfit with a vaulting cleavage and sings this little rock and roll song, which is pretty cool. And she's 79 years old. She rocked it. So speaking of hot women, did you see that post? Never mind. I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Bump in salary cap won't affect the Alouette, says the GM, Danny Machocha. Well, not much we can say about this. It's an interesting concept. It just allows teams to keep a couple of players that they didn't. I don't really think it affected too many people out there. It's stupid bumping the salary cap by that much in the middle of free agency when there was already contracts decided.
Really weird timing.
Yeah, stupid timing. And I think we've gone over that. And Randy Ambrosie just needs to fuck off and go away. Sooner the better. Will, you find that amusing?
Yeah, I was just thinking him and Pierre can go the same place. So
him and who? Pierre?
Pierre Jr.
We got
Pierre Jr. I don't know if that's Pierre Jr. or Fidel. Fidel Castro's little boy, I think.
Right.
The odds are better with that.
Right.
It is kind of scary how much they did look alike, but
oh yeah, and Pierre Elliott Trudeau was just an ugly motherfucker, right? And nobody looks like him. And it's the same thing like with Prince William. Prince William looks like King Charles, but Harry doesn't. Harry doesn't look anything like him.
Yes, and we know that story. And we know that
Harry's
story.
got hair.
We know that story, right?
So. Yeah, we do. Okay. So there's really not much happening in this article here for Danny Machocha. He said they did most of their heavy lifting in December and January, re-signing their roster that they wanted to keep, and picked up a couple of free agents, and raising the salary cap by $412,000 doesn't make much difference. So it is what it is. I don't think that the league is as stable as what Mr. Ambrosie is telling us about. Oh, well. Okay, moving on. Trevor Harris believes continuity puts the Riders ahead of the curve entering 2025. Continuity. Continuity to me would be no turnover. And yes, I understand that they re-signed 9 All-Stars. Did Saskatchewan Roughriders win the Grey Cup?
Nope.
Did they win the Western Division?
Nope.
Were they the number 1 team in the Western Division?
No.
Did they make the playoffs?
Yes.
They're not good enough. Signing all of the old players that you had is not a smart or wise decision. If you didn't win, you need to change.
Yep.
And as we looked at the Riders in free agency, they did not make a lot of changes. Okay. They did bring in Jake Mayer as a backup quarterback. And I'm not convinced that that was a bad signing. But it's not a blockbuster by any stretch of the means. Trevor Harris is not going to survive this season. He out of what, 12 seasons, he's finished 1. He's got hurt in every season. Sometimes it's only 1 game that he missed, a couple of games. Last year he missed 5.
Mm-hmm.
What's he going to do this year? He's now 39
and he's
years old.
Yep.
I thought he would have retired. He did not.
They did get Sean McEwen in free agency. He's a great center.
Mm-hmm.
So their offensive line probably got better. But Trevor Harris isn't a guy who runs around anyways.
No, he's a very stationary quarterback.
Yeah, so they better have a decent O-line or they're going to be in trouble again. Mind you, the running game should take care of a lot of that, and they got a good running game. So once again, Corey Mace has got another year under his belt. We'll see.
Corey Mace was a good signing, and he did a lot better last year than I thought he would.
Yep.
And Saskatchewan came together quicker than I thought they would.
Yep. But the odds are against them because how many Grey Cups have they won in how many years?
I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there.
But I am.
But
so, go ahead.
Saskatchewan Roughriders are banging their own drum and tooting their own horn of how wonderful they are and everything else. But that was the weakest Western Division I have seen in my lifetime.
In a long time.
In my lifetime.
Yep.
It was.
So coming in second place at 500 is not impressive. It's not. So we'll see what happens. If Edmonton got better, BC got better, Calgary got better, can the Riders get better? Of course they can. But they didn't do enough changes to get better. No. It's the same thing as what we say. If you're the best out there and you make no changes and everybody else does, the potential for being the best is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're still there until somebody displaces you. But if everybody else is getting better around you, you better get better to stay on top.
Yep. You're right.
And I don't think they made enough changes to stay where they were, which was a 500 team.
Right.
And in reality,
continuity is great if you're the champion, but when you finish
100%,
we're bringing back the crew that got us half a game above 500. That's something you want to be hop up or down and bragging about?
No. And I still think Shea, what's his name, their backup quarterback,
Shea Patterson
is a better quarterback than Jake Mayer.
He might be.
Just my opinion, but
well, Shea Patterson, to me, in everything that it looks like, is the heir apparent to the number one position in Winnipeg.
Might be.
Yeah, they got a young guy there that they're very high on. I don't know what his name is.
So they've got Zach Caleros, Shea Patterson, Chris Strebler, and Jake Dogala.
No, there's someone else. I'm going to look right now. I actually watched a Bomber podcast the other day, so just let me figure it out. You keep on talking.
I don't know where we're going to go. So this next story, in my opinion, is a little embarrassing. Although it's interesting, it is like, oh, that's the best you can come up with. And it is BC Lions GM praises Canadian quarterback Nathan Rourke for his unmatched work ethic to shovel the practice field during Vancouver's snowstorm.
I only put this in because I thought this article was funny as hell, to be honest.
Like, seriously? This is a showing work ethic? All it really showed is that the Lions don't have enough money to hire people to shovel the practice field.
Yeah.
And
look,
seriously, the snow was here for a week. So why wouldn't you just play indoors in the weight room while the snow was there? It's going to go away. It's Surrey. It's going to rain.
Let's send our star quarterback out with a shovel to clear the field.
Yeah, and
There's only another football team in North America that would do that.
And I wonder what would happen if he
dislocated his
shoulder,
shoulder,
if he injured something,
hurt a shoulder, or yeah.
Oh.
Anyways,
Lion season lost, shoveling snow.
Yeah. Did you notice what I'm wearing,
It's
Charles?
not like they're practicing right now. What?
Did you notice what I'm wearing tonight?
I did, yeah. You got the is that the gunmetal? Yeah, the gunmetal .08. Still my favorite jersey.
Did you see my name?
Beer me up.
yes.
There you go. Best uniform in professional sports. Hey, come on, Will. Will, what are you doing? Snap.
I'm looking. They still have.
Want me to go look, or you?
No, I'm looking, but I'm trying.
What are we looking at?
Blue Bombers roster. Go. Complete failure. There we go. So what do they got for quarterbacks here? Going down the list, they got Zach Caleros. They got Jake Dogala. They got nobody else. Nobody else is there. Wide receivers, D lineman, Shea Patterson. Going down the list. Chris Strebler. Going down the list some more. And they got a guy named Terry Wilson.
There you go.
I think that's the guy Will's talking about.
Yeah.
So, Will, your pitcher's frozen.
No, it's not.
He's not
I'm
moving.
just not moving. I'm
He's
just not moving.
He's moving for me.
Well, see, his mouth wasn't moving. I got a WM up now. He's gone. His pitcher's gone silent.
Oh Lord! You haven't seen? Oh, you're not seeing what he was doing?
No.
Oh, good Lord! He's dancing. He's got his hat on backwards. Oh Lord! You're missing it.
No,
you can't.
I've just got. I got a blank screen over here completely.
You better fix your computer, Charles.
Boy, you really missed the entertainment there.
See, now Charles went blank. Will came back with his hat.
I'm still here.
Goofy.
I haven't done anything.
Yeah. You went blank for a minute. The CC came up. Will's gone again.
You need to fix your computer or something, buddy.
There's Charles is gone. There's Will gone. There, Will's back with his hat half off.
I haven't moved.
Yeah. I'm not going to use any words that Will would use to describe himself right now, but he's got one of those words that we're not allowed to use.
Swanee River.
Oh boy.
Oh my good Lord. Okay, Gino's taking it too personally. Darian Durant believes the dispute between Eugene Lewis and Ed Hervey is just business. Now,
Cares.
I don't disagree with Darian
He's
Durant,
right,
but we
by the
need to
way.
just put some context in here. I'm sorry, Gino Lewis. You're not worth the money.
No. Nobody is. Not that money.
No, no. And, you know, I had that argument with the guy the other day. He says, oh, Kenny Lawler's the best receiver in the CFL. And I said, prove it. He never has. He's never once been the best receiver in the CFL. He's never once completed a season without injury. Out of 5 years, he's only hit 1,000 yards once. How
Right.
can you say that you're the best? He's the best receiver in the CFL. You can't do that. I don't get it. I don't get it. And Eugene Lewis, you don't like what Ed Hervey says? Too bad. Suck it up, sunshine, and go play football and leave it on the field. Okay? Don't whine in the media. It does nobody any good.
When you're a pro
Okay?
athlete, you're going to get criticism. I don't care what player you are. You got to deal with it and stop crying about it. It goes with the territory.
He doesn't like you. Don't play for him. You're not on his
You're not.
team.
And
Doesn't
he's not.
matter
He's
what
signed
he
with
says.
somebody else.
Grow up, you putt.
He didn't want you back. That's life. Welcome to pro sports.
I don't understand how. And where did he like Gino Lewis? He signed in Ottawa.
Yeah.
So is Gino Lewis going to be the number one receiver in the CFL this year?
Well, he wasn't last year, so why do I think he'd be it this
And he
year?
doesn't have a quarterback.
Playing with who? Drew Brown? Dustin Crum?
Drew Brown. Yeah.
Whatever.
I think Kenny Lawler has a better odds of doing that in Hamilton with Bo Levi Mitchell.
Honestly, Dominic Rhymes wasn't the best receiver in the CFL, and I think he's at least as good as a Eugene Lewis, as far as I'm concerned.
You know what? I wasn't
good-
crazy. I wasn't crazy about the Dominic Rhymes signing because I think he's getting a little long in the tooth, to be honest with you. So, but
He's
he's
an amazing receiver. He was a phenomenal in BC, but that's going
He's starting
back
to get injured.
3 years ago.
Yeah, and there's a reason Ottawa let him go. Let's face it.
There's a reason why BC let him go.
Yep.
And I mean, if Ottawa lets you go, that must mean something. So just say it. But
Yeah.
but you know, Eugene Lewis, I've always thought he was overrated personally. And you know, so the team that paid him the money, they're stupid, but that's just my opinion.
Agreed. They're paying the number one receiver in the league last year was Justin McInnes, and he was a Canadian. Okay.
Yep.
So although all of us believe that the ratio is ridiculous and should not be part of our league, as long as it is part of our league, it's important.
Right.
Okay.
It is. Sure.
So having a ratio breaking all-star receiver has value.
Sure.
BC is
You would
paying
think
him
that.
$250,000 a year. My personal opinion is that's about $25,000 too much. As a Canadian receiver, he's probably worth $2.25. Any other receiver in the league is in the 180 to 200 range.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion, I don't know whether you agree with me or not, but it's just a receiver. You know, there was 20,000 of them graduated from NCAA last year. You know, go find another. Go find a bunch of them. There's got to be somebody out there they can play on a big field and understands the waggle.
Yeah, well, you just got to train them and they'd be fine. I still think it's it's crazy to pay any wide receiver more than 150K a year in my mind. Okay. But that's just me. So,
Well,
I think there's so many more important things on the football field, and it's not receivers.
this is very true. But if you look at the CFL minimum wage is what? The minimum wage for a CFL player is 70,000. Okay.
Yep.
And but as a veteran, I think that goes
100.
up to 100 or 115,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say the 70,000 is like a rookie or a first couple of years.
Yes.
I think it's
Yeah.
the veterans,
Anybody after
the
3
minimum's
years is
higher.
considered a veteran, and they get 115,000 minimum, right?
Right.
So
Right.
paying somebody 150 might be a little shy.
Well,
That's not much. That's not much over the minimum.
No.
you see, I personally think the two most overpaid players on a football field are
Kickers.
the receivers, and the kickers.
Mm-hmm.
I think the kicker should be paid 20 grand. Or
What about
for
a
that
punter?
matter, either or for that matter,
Okay.
pay them piecework, okay? Like $1,000 for every field goal you make. Come on. Just saying, because they don't make very many of them. It's crazy. And I just don't think you should. And I mean, when someone pays a receiver $300,000, my God, it's crazy.
Yes.
Because
No
I
question.
don't think there is one receiver in the CFL currently that makes their team that much better. And when I say that much better, I'm talking about he's the biggest difference in the team winning and losing.
I can't
Like
disagree with you.
It's hard to disagree with that.
Like a standout guy, like let's talk about Milt Stegall. Let's talk about the guy in BC. Can't remember his name. You don't like him, but
Leroy Simon.
thank you, Geroy Simon. You know, guys like that.
You don't see
Well,
that caliber receiver anymore.
I
No,
don't
we
think
just
so.
don't have them right now. I mean, you go
Right
back
now,
a few
yeah.
years, we had Brian Burnham in BC,
Yeah,
and he was an absolute all-star.
Mhm.
Okay. In 2022, we had who? Dominic Grimes. In
Mhm.
2023, it was Keon Hatcher. They made us better, but they didn't define
You
the season,
didn't put us over
No.
the top.
no,
right? And I don't think Eugene Lewis and I don't think Kenny Lawler, Dalton Schoen was a huge difference for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers a couple of years ago, right? Rookie
a year ago,
contract out
Yeah.
there. He just didn't play a game last year,
no.
right? And now he's coming back. And what's he going to come back and be like? I don't know.
I mean, who was the best receiver on the Toronto Argonauts last year? Do you remember?
They had
I
a
don't know if they
receiver.
really. I don't think they had a big standout. They had a big group of a bunch of good receivers, but there was not one I would call like a big standout receiver.
I rest my case. They won
Yeah.
the Grey Cup.
Well, I mean, that's it. If you have a stable, and that was like the Lions last year. I personally think that they had a stable of well-rounded receivers with, you know, McInnes, Hollins,
Hatcher.
Well, Hatcher wasn't there for
Hatcher
much of the
only was
season.
there for half
No,
the
we
year.
can't count him. And when he came back, he underperformed.
Yep.
But I mean, they just had a lot of really good receivers. In fact, we had 3 of the top 5 in the league.
It is
Right?
funny though. Now that you bring that up, you think of guys last year. Keon Hatcher, Nathan Rourke, Matthew Betts
Yeah.
all came in partway through the season. None of them played up to the potential that we know them to be able to play at. What does that tell you? When you come in halfway through a season, you're probably not going to get to your optimal performance because you're that much further behind all the players at the same time.
Well,
There's
Sport,
some
you know,
there's something about guys when they go off and try to play in the NFL, they never come back the same for a while.
Yeah, it takes them some time because they're used to playing in an NFL style system. CFL's completely different.
And a lot of the times, if they're borderline guys, they didn't get much playing time if they were away for a year or 2
Right.
years. So, Nathan Rourke, he played an exhibition and that was it. So
I'm not arguing or disagreeing with you, but anybody who thought that Matthew Betts was going to come in and rip up the back end of the season with an astronomical amount of sacks was delusional. He doesn't have the timing. He doesn't know the relationship with the other D linemen. And trust me, it's not one guy on the D line that's out there making all these things. It's everybody beside you that makes you better. Right?
I mean,
yes, it is.
Line play on both the defensive and offensive line would probably be the most difficult positions to come back and play because so much of it is the timing with the other guys on that line. To come in halfway through a season, it's almost impossible to get on the same page in that short a period of time.
Agreed. And there's three positions, actually. I'm going to add the defensive backs into that, Charles.
Yep, I would agree too.
Yeah, me too.
Right? So, and TJ Lee coming back from a catastrophic Achilles injury and being as old as he was an underperformer last year.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And now
we didn't re-sign him.
And you don't see anyone rushing to sign him either.
No, he's done. He's going to retire.
I think,
according to some people, TJ Lee deserved better. Come on.
Yeah, well, they always say that about guys who have to retire. Trey Roberson, for example, he signed in Ottawa. And you say Ottawa's not going to be good. Trey Roberson lost a step the last 2 years. He was always getting burnt, and nobody ever beat him before. And that's why Calgary let him go. Feel free. Go to Ottawa. He might get another year or two out of it, maybe, but he's not that good anymore. So.
Oh, but he's going to make a paycheck.
Yeah, guys get old. They get slower. Part of life. I hate to see guys go too, but you cannot become attached to these guys because your team will go backwards.
Yeah.
Every time.
Without question. And I mean, John Hufnagel, Wally Buono, Don Matthews were some of the best at this. Letting people go at their prime or just past it. And everybody goes, oh, they've still got great years into them. And odds are I don't remember Wally being proved wrong.
Nope.
Letting G. Roy Simon go. Oh my God, the world is falling apart.
Yeah, Alan Pitts was another one.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? John Hufnagel made a mistake still to this day, I think, with Charleston Hughes, because he played another 3 or 4 years in Saskatchewan, and 1 or 2 of those 3 years he was nominated for Defensive Player of the Year. So,
right, but I don't know if Hufnagel made a mistake there or Hufnagel just wasn't prepared to pay him.
Well, that's true. I mean, he probably saved money. And did he have guys that were just as good? Yes, he did.
So I'm not going to go and say that was a mistake. But I understand that. Okay, so I want to bring up an article here. I just posted it into the Let's Talk CFL group just before the show started. And let's see what it's about. And it's an article from The Score. And it's the NFL plans to replace the first down chains with Hawkeye virtual measurement system for the 2025 season. This is really interesting. And it's not often that I make a suggestion that we should follow what the NFL is doing, but why wouldn't we? Why? This is brilliant. And I mean, they've been doing this for tennis for 15 years already,
Yep.
where they take the line calls out of the judge's hands, and it's done by a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And so where the ball's placed on the field, it's where, I mean, how is that? Cannot that? We had talked before about having a microchip in the ball so we could tell whether it's crossed the plane or gone, first down yardage or what, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, why aren't we doing this? How do you tell on third down whether or not the running back or the quarterback sneak made it? How far did the ball go? Right? Now, I don't know whether or not this Hawkeye virtual system is going to be able to do that, but it certainly can with a chip.
I certainly, though, would like to see this used in the NFL and see how it goes. See if it goes flawlessly or if there's some drawbacks to it. So I'm glad the NFL is doing it first before the CFL does anything with it. Let's see how it works.
I agree with that. And, with the CFL's endless bucket of money, they can do this and perfect it, right? Where the CFL is a little challenged. If they go off and buy a system, it's not like they can go, oh, well, this was no fucking good. Let's buy the other one.
Right.
Let's use a string.
Let's find out what's going to work.
Once again, and I don't like to be this guy, and I don't like to say these things, but technology is going to start to change things again.
Still.
With AI coming, and they've only scratched the surface of what AI can do.
Of course.
And because they compare AI right now to what it was for dial-up computers way back when. They say it's going to get way, way crazier. And some of the stuff it can do now is crazy. So, and I'm sure with those things that we usually see in football with the eye and we make mistakes, I think those things will change eventually.
And they should.
Yeah, they should. They should.
Let's get things right.
So, and I mean, if you remember, we tried it with a chip last year, and the kickers lost their shit, right? Because the ball was going wide, and it had nothing to do with the chip. It had to do with kickers being kickers. But so don't use the chip for kickers. But if the running back's going to run the ball, put the chip in it. Put it in a chip ball and let it go, and find out how far he goes and where it goes down. Does he get a first down? I mean, we would know this instantly. Whether it broke the plane of the goal line, whether it went over the first down marker, whether he's out of bounds.
Well, and I mean, they use replays now, and they still get it wrong with replays.
Yeah,
so
true.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is.
I don't know if you'll ever get it perfect, period.
No, I know. But.
And I don't think they ever want it. I mean, do I want it to be perfect? Yes. Is it going to be perfect? No. There's always going to be a human element to it because it's going to be happening. But let's step back and do Will for a second here, what he just said about AI. And can you see the future of football? I'm going to go out there, right? I'm going to go out on the edge and build an AI football team, the Calgary Stampeders, the BC Lions, put in all the parameters of the players that we have, and then have AI have a game between these two and find out who wins.
Yeah.
Do we even need the players?
It's funny because I've been playing around with a couple of AI things at work lately, and today I was sitting there and I said, will the Calgary Stampeders win the Grey Cup in 2025? And AI came up with the odds aren't great, and they gave the odds, but they knew about, they've added certain players and yada, and they came up with that response in like 5 seconds.
Yep.
Everything that I think of in my head, it was just like, holy crap.
Like,
Or, I mean, I also did a thing today, all I said was I typed in, give me a sales strategy for the Calgary area for pre-engineered steel buildings, yada, yada, yada. This thing, my God, it came up with a 20-page report in like a minute.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, and it was absolutely dead on about all the things I think about. So
where was AI when I had to do a book report in school? God damn, I could have had
absolutely,
it done in
absolutely. When
and
I fumble with my wonderful English in emails, where was AI? Okay, like, anyways.
well, what's it doing to society?
That's the big thing.
Yeah, that's the big thing. It's gonna.
I mean,
It
spell
will
check
eliminate.
alone has destroyed the English language.
Well, it has and it has not, because I'm amazed at how many emails I still get with spelling mistakes when they have a button right there.
And it
So
comes up and it highlights it and underlines it and says, you got a fucking spelling mistake.
Hey,
And
dummy,
people
yes.
will correct them.
Yes. So, and AI is just gonna stupid people down even more, or dumb people down even more, because you're not gonna have an original thought.
I don't
But the
agree with that, because
well,
there's
but
people out there that's only 4% of people have original thoughts.
right,
Okay.
I understand that. But what I think it will do, which is an interesting thing, is how many technical guys do you know out there who have the personalities of a rock?
Many.
You mean a wet rag?
Many. Right. So
Okay.
you can take the technology and put it in AI, and then get somebody who doesn't have to know about the technology with some personality to explain it. So I think it'll be a pretty interesting thing. So
Yeah, you know what the difference would, a long time ago when I was a computer engineer, because I was early on in my life.
yes.
One of the jokes that was going around was, do you know what the difference between a computer salesman and a used car salesman is?
Mm.
The used car salesman knows when he's lying,
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
computer salesman's an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay. So, me as a computer engineer, when I went into sales, I was no better than a used car salesman, because I knew when I was lying.
Yeah.
I should get AI to do our show agenda. It'd probably be easier.
I one of the guys from a different office phoned me on Friday afternoon about 3:30, and he had downloaded this AI app and he was playing with it, and he knows we do a podcast, and he said, do a CFL agenda. Man, 30 seconds. Yep.
Jesus.
It was right there. It was right there.
And what AI program are you using?
He was just using Chat GPT.
Got GPT.
Yeah.
But see, the unfortunate thing is, I mean, that's your business has that, right?
No, they don't. We're starting to play with these things, and I downloaded a free trial today for 3 days, and I'm going to mess with it for 3 days. Yeah, and I'm going to mess with it for 3 days, and then cancel it, just to see if it's worthwhile.
Yeah, because there's a couple of AI programs out there that cartoon things, right? Take your picture, turn it into a cartoon.
Yeah.
And I was trying to do that with my race car picture, because I think that would be really cool, a Grinch car. And I just haven't found one that will do it properly. I'm sure now that somebody's going to be listening to this, Sparky will go and tell me what to do tomorrow. because that's kind of what he does. So yeah, we've got our podcast is up. It gets punted out to all the different podcast servers out there. Tomorrow we'll have the link up for YouTube. But my understanding is that PodServe does not pass out an RSS file with video. It's strictly audio. And when you upload it to YouTube, YouTube makes a video to go with your audio podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens on that, if that's really the case, or do we manually have to upload the file into YouTube every time? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's a learning curve for me, and Sparky's helping me out along the way, and he's doing very well with that. And what is it? We're 100 days from the start of the CFL season.
Right.
Yep.
So we have time to experiment, for sure.
We have what?
Time to experiment.
Oh yeah, we do. We have some time to experiment, definitely. So yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Well, I still got
No.
one more thing on the agenda there.
Oh,
Oh,
do
do
you?
you?
What's that?
Yep.
What?
A possible replacement for Randy Ambrosi.
Oh, yeah. No
I
fucking
thought
way.
this-
Glenn
I thought
Suter.
this was good for entertainment.
Glenn Suter. No. You know, I honestly I can't tell you. I was surprised when they picked Randy Ambrosi. I was surprised when they picked Jeffrey Orridge. None of these people were actually mainstream names in the CFL community. So are they going to step outside of the box and find some decent businessman to do this? Or are they
No.
going to get somebody
Probably
from
not,
inside the league? Because the only person that I think that would be interesting for the job, not necessarily interested in the job, would be Wade Miller.
Yeah, but Woody?
I don't know, would he? I certainly wouldn't want Michael Clemens, and I think he's lost a lot of credibility with the way that the Argos handled the Chad Kelly affair. So I don't think Clemens is going to get the job. Although, hey, who knows? That could surprise the shit out of me.
I honestly don't want a commissioner that worked for a specific team. I know I'm not saying that they would be biased, but it would just give just a bad look, I think.
Don't disagree with you.
You know, I was going to, and I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys. When I was in the Grey Cup this year, actually the night we hung out with you, Charles, and we went back to our hotel. On the way back to our hotel, right at the corner across the street from my hotel, I'm standing there waiting for a red light, and who walks up next to me? None other than Michael Pinball Clemens.
Michael Pinball Clemens.
And he's so lucky that it was pissing down rain. Because I would have had a conversation. Because
you probably still should have.
Well, yeah, but it was really cold and it was really pissing down rain. So, and he did shake my hand and say hello, but I wanted to go inside and hang out with my brother. So maybe next year.
You don't appreciate how fucking cold it is in Vancouver,
especially when it's raining.
You know what else you don't appreciate? How fucking small Michael Pinball Clemens is.
Yeah.
Oh, he's tiny. I met him when I was at the Great Cup in Hamilton a few years back.
Yeah, he's a runt. Like, holy cow.
He came up barely to my shoulders.
Well, no, and I'm shocked and amazed that he actually, guys used to smack him and he'd bounced off of them all the time.
Keep running. Yep.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Anyways.
Yeah, you still should have had that conversation with him.
I know, but he also had a bodyguard with him, so I was bigger than the bodyguard, but maybe I should have applied for a job right then and there.
Oh,
So who knows?
Yeah, maybe not.
No,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know who I'd want. The commissioner is a figurehead. Always has been. Not going to make a difference. So
That's the problem.
yeah,
But
it
that's
is.
not true. If Jeffrey Orridge made a difference in this league,
And he was there for 7
And
minutes.
they got rid of him.
And they got rid of him.
they got rid of him.
Yeah.
But why
Because
did
I
they get
think
rid
that's
of him?
what the
Was it a
owners
conflict with David Braley because Braley was the egotistic son of a bitch and he ran the league the way he wanted? If he wasn't there, would it be okay?
No, because I don't think he's the only one. I think there's a bunch of owners there. I don't think Bob Young wants to be told what to do. I don't think MLSE wants to be told what to do. I don't think these guys just want some guy to oversee them. They want someone to do their bidding.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not the way to do things.
It's not supposed to
No,
be
it's
like
not.
that. I agree, but that's what they want.
In all honesty, the league should be run independently of the teams.
Of course it should.
But it's not.
No.
No, it's not.
Okay. And I'm not going to go into the top 25 combine picks.
Combine. Nobody
No,
cares.
me either.
Nobody
I don't care.
cares. I'm just not going to do it. So
I agree.
on that note, unless you guys have something different here or something cool to deal with, I think we're done.
Hey,
Oh, back on goes the hat.
Do you agree? Yes, no, otherwise?
Yeah, no,
So
I'm
we'll
fine
be
with
at
that.
this.
I knew that would get CJ.
We could just watch this for an hour.
I
Please,
wear
God,
my
give me
sunglasses
strength.
at
I'm gonna
night.
get sunglasses and hat, and we'll do like a dual act.
What do you think? What do you think? What do you think our buddy's gonna say about this?
Ooh,
Sparky?
Sparky?
Yeah,
I don't know.
doesn't
I
matter
think
anyways.
it's funny.
Doesn't matter anyways. So let's have a little fun. At least
It's not really a Blues Brothers type of look, okay? You need the fedora.
Well, we
get
can
the
do the Blues
fedora, the
Brothers.
dark glasses.
I can do the
go
Blues
from there.
Brothers. I got a
thing.
fedora somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure I do too. I mean, yeah, what the heck? So, hey, anyways.
Okay. So
Are we
this has
saying
been Let's Talk
goodnight?
CFL podcast episode number 597. It's in the books. It's going to be uploaded to PodServe and then around the world wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you very much for coming in. We'll do this again next Wednesday, or at least try to. And you sign off there, Charles Cliff. Say goodnight.
Oh, good night, folks. Thanks for listening. We're gonna be 1 week closer to the season next week. What'll be 100 days? So we'll be down to like 93, double digits. So
something like that.
Exciting.
William, you say goodnight.
Good night, everybody. Have a great evening. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.